I think plugging ourselves into mastermind communities is important, is we surround ourselves with these other entrepreneurs that are doing it in a different way or in a better way. I call it ideas having sex.
It's going to eat away 30, 50, maybe eventually 60% of the accounting industry. But what roles is it going to take?
If you're the ones that don't embrace it, you're the ones that are not going to have jobs. But if you guys, jump on and we start learning together, and we just set up a bi-weekly meeting where everybody brings things and we try them and fail.
Welcome to Money Mavericks, the podcast where we explore the dynamic world of finance, investment, and entrepreneurship.
I'm Kirk Drake.
And I'm Daryl Hicks. Together, we're here to bring you the latest insights, expert opinions from the trailblazers who are redefining success in the financial world.
It's being aware of wonder, and our job as a leader is to grow people. So it's to take our team and to grow their skills, their confidence, and their connections so that they can actually do more. If we show up caring about them as people, if we show up caring about their home life, their insecurities, their fears, their vulnerabilities, if we care about the special moments, then they're going to go through brick walls for us to build the company. But if all we care about is the company, they just feel like, a cog in a wheel, or they just feel like a part of our dream and that we're not a part of theirs. So our job is to give them the systems, give them the training, right? Plug them into stuff like the Invest in Your Leaders training, which is going to make our business more profitable, but it's going to make them more productive. It's going to make them happier. It's going to make them feel cared about.
Yeah. It reminds me, one of the conversations you and I had a long, long time ago about, treating your personal energy as a non-renewable asset, right? You said something along the lines of like, stop wasting heartbeats, this cost per heartbeat lens of the way that
I think you have a very good filter for our coaching calls. I think you're so smart that you create your own little tweetable moments and you attribute them to me, which thank you.
And like something you said that I was like, man, maybe you were just on fire when we were working together. But like you told me like one day, stop wasting heartbeats, man. Like this whole lens of like looking at life, like the cost per heartbeat lens, and treating your personal energy as a non-renewable asset. I think that's
true.
It really frames,
leaders, that's another thing that's really important for leaders. And that's why I think plugging ourselves into mastermind communities is important, is we surround ourselves with these other entrepreneurs that are doing it in a different way or in a better way. I call it ideas having sex. I can take an idea from Daryl. I can take an idea from Kirk. I can take an idea from Jason Gaynard. And those three ideas have a little idea baby. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. But everything I'm getting from Jason, not it. Everything I'm getting from Daryl, not it. Everything, but all those little pieces come together. And sometimes that we bring that back into our own business. I think it's invaluable for entrepreneurs and for their teams to be plugged into these different mastermind communities, right? To grow their confidence, their skills, and their connections.
Yeah. How do you see AI impacting COOs? And are you seeing anybody really diving in and we're just replacing their entire middle management layer?
Of course.
Yeah.
The reality is that AI is going to massively change all of our organizations, right? The only people that are going to get replaced in companies are the people that aren't leveraging AI. If people are out there, and so we, as an example, in the COO Alliance, we have a different AI expert presenting to our members every single month. In addition to our normal 2-hour monthly calls, I have a different AI expert doing a 1-hour call every single month. So we're just exposing people to the different tools. We have an AI channel inside of Circle, so we're sharing resources and tips and tools. So it's the idea, how do we look to get ahead of this curve and ride this curve? I think a lot of companies out there are just saying, we're not going to add new people. We're going to slowly replace people with AI. We're going to continue to skill up the people that we have to leverage AI. We're going to double and triple the size of our company, but not necessarily by adding headcount.
Yeah. I see two things that, like, I feel like the early people look at it this very agentic view of like, how do I get Cameron to do 20%, 30% more? And I find that the best use cases are actually where it knows 80% of Daryl's job and 80% of Cameron's job. And when combined and removing the inertia and arguments that go on between, it can produce that baby 10 times faster and more accurately than the two of you guys working together.
Well, yeah, we had a speaker 3 months ago come in and teach us how to actually put AI agents onto our leadership team as people that show up on our Zoom calls. So now, like on a Zoom call, there's 4 people and there's this AI avatar that is there to actually give their insights as a member of the team. and it is just an AI agent
Yeah.
that is actually actively participating. And that was the
Mm.
COO from Mindvalley is the one that gave us that idea and walked us through, how to do that. And that's not even bleeding edge. That's
Right.
just like, a well, of course. But I think
Mhm.
the companies out there that aren't leveraging AI are dead.
Yeah.
They literally are. It's kind of like saying, I'm going to come to work and I'm just not going to use a laptop. Cool, but you're not working here then, right? I'm not going to use Wi-Fi. I'm not going to use the internet. Well, then you don't get to work here.
Right. Yeah. That's
Mm.
a deal.
I think we've said this even on previous episodes of this podcast. Like, AI is not going to take your job. Someone who knows how to use AI really is the one who's going to take your job, right? So it's on you to learn these tools and to use them effectively.
Yeah, and I also do think that there are some people whose jobs are just going to get obliterated by AI. And if you're
Mm.
not prepared to retool and find a different niche for yourself, you will be out of a job. I'll give an example. Daryl, I was in Kelowna, British Columbia, and it might have been the same day that I met with you for breakfast. I went and met with Matt Toran, and I took an Uber to go meet with Matt, and the Uber driver was complaining about Uber taking 30% of his money. And I'm like, dude, your job is gone. Like, there's going to be autonomous vehicles. He's like, what do you mean? He didn't even know of autonomous vehicles. This was, 12 months ago, maybe 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago I was in Kelowna now? Might have
No,
been
it was
2 years.
about just over a year ago. Just
Okay,
over a
12
year
months
ago.
ago. So I was explaining, the Waymos to him. I'd already been in a bunch of Waymos in Arizona, and I showed him a video of a self-driving vehicle, and his mind was blown. And I'm like, yeah, in 2 or 3 years, you don't have a job. Like, there is no Uber driver. There's just cars driving people around. So that's an example of someone who can't use AI to do his job. There will be no drivers of shuttles, of limos, of buses. We can't keep telling people that you're going to use AI. No, some people will just have to do other jobs. There will not be copywriters. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
you're not.
I,
So
this is a bit of a rabbit hole, and I don't know how far we want to go down it, but I had a long conversation with ChatGPT the other day about this because I'm getting really, really frustrated at these people that keep saying, "Oh, we're all going to become so much more productive, and these people are going to learn new skills, and they're going to find a place in society." And there's this concept that I think might be a little bit provocative, but I started talking to ChatGPT about the cognitive floor that exists in our society for being able to participate in a meaningful way and have a productive role in society. Because, people started saying, AI is going to destroy the legal industry. There's going to be no more lawyers. No, of course not. But it's might replace 30%, 50%, eventually 60, 70% of the work that's going to happen within a legal firm. And what are the jobs that it's going to replace? It's all the entry level stuff. It's the paralegal work. It's the junior work. The most senior people that are really dealing with creative issues, they're going to remain. People would say, oh, AI is going to destroy the accounting industry. No, it's not. It's going to eat away 30, 50, maybe eventually 60% of the accounting industry. But what roles is it going to take? It's all the entry level stuff. It's the perfunctory. It's the rote that's going to disappear. And so, we don't have people pumping gas, and we're not going to have people working at McDonald's for very much longer, and we're not going to have Uber drivers anymore. It's all the entry level sort of like simplified work, the simple work that's going to go first. And so, right. So we had this conversation with ChatGPT, like, what is the minimum IQ that's required in order to, be able to participate meaningfully in a productive way in our economy in the Western world? And it's at a number right now that represents, you've got easily 10 to 15% of the population that fall below that number who
yeah,
are going to really, really struggle. But the forecasting that we were doing on this, and we went by discipline across all these industries, it's like the massive long thread that I can share with you if you want to see it. Its estimation was we're about 3 to 5 years away that the cognitive floor, the platform it's going to represent about 28 to 30% of the
of
human
humans.
population within
Yeah.
3 to 5 years. And these are people that I don't know if we're, and what kind of a society do we have if we don't,
And
if we
I
have
think that cognitive floor
25%?
is going to move up a little bit too, Daryl. Like right now, 30% of the code being written by mid-level people at Google is being written by AI. 14% of the workforce in South Korea is currently robots. 14%. So so we're already moving in that direction faster. And I think I was at an event last year called the All In Summit. I think you've gone to the All In Summit before.
Yeah,
And
love it.
Yeah.
Love that event.
I was very frustrated because it felt like everyone on stage was lying to the audience and saying, it's fine, people will retool. No, they won't. Like it's moving
Yes.
too fast. And I think we just have to be very cognizant that our employees are scared our employees don't know, and we have to be there to care for them, right? If you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, safety and security is one of the very base layer of those 5 needs that Maslow talks about in the hierarchy. So we as companies have to make sure that our employees feel safe and secure, that we know that they're fearful. We know that we're trying to give them the skills and the tools. Otherwise, they're going to panic and they're going to go somewhere that they are cared for, or they're just not going to be productive, right? They're going to
Well,
Yeah.
I think there's a huge thing in there where probably about 2.5 years ago, we really started, we had that conversation with the whole team, said, hey, AI is coming. If you're the ones that don't embrace it, you're the ones that are not going to have jobs. But if you guys, jump on and we start learning together, and we just set up a bi-weekly meeting where everybody brings things and we try them and fail and laugh and, figure it out. Those guys now, 2.5 years, all have pretty solid AI skills, can write complex prompts, are building GPTs, are saving themselves each 3 to 4 hours a day. All of our bottlenecks in the business are gone, right? And I'm not sitting, we're making more money than we ever have. And I'm not sitting around going, well, yeah, I could get rid of 5 of you guys and make a lot more money. I'm going, great. Now we can go do a bunch of cool shit that we couldn't do before. If you make those investments in people, and by the way, we've had 0 turnover. Everybody
Right.
loves coming to work. They're part of it. They're engaged. They see the vision and they come up with cool ideas, right? Like,
Well, and it shows that you care about them, right? When we're training people, it shows we care about them. I always like to frame it with management team as well. If we're going to put them through the Invest in Your Leaders training, it's not because you're broken. If you were broken, I'd be firing you. It's because
Right.
I'm constantly growing you, right? It's like the best athletes on the world still get coaches. I'm trying to coach my employees, not because you're broken, but because we believe in you, because we care, because you have a future here.
I keep telling my wife this, but she said that me training her is not the thing that makes her feel.
Good luck with that.
No, I think that's a really important framing. I talk a lot about that. We had a conversation about it at my recent board of directors meeting, that it's like, what got us to, to 10 million in revenue is not what's going to get us to 30, right? And we're at this turning point now in the business where the stakes are higher, but the skills required are different as well. And well, our mutual friend Clayton Mask talked about this pretty openly a little while back. In fact, I think he even wrote about it in his recent book, where he's like, businesses move in stages. He believes that they move in 1s and 3s, like 1 to 3, 3 to 10, 10 to 30, 30 to 100, 100 to 300. Regardless of whether you believe it's 1s and 3s, I think we all buy into this concept that businesses move in stages. And he said, like, a good leader will get you through 1 stage. A great one will get you through 2, but it's a truly rare unicorn that will get you through 3 stages, right?
And a stage for him is doubling of the size of the company. So a good mid-level person, if you're a $5 million company, can probably be the manager at 10 million. They can probably be the manager at 20, but it's likely impossible that they can still be that manager at 40, because the company is now 8 times different over that course of the 3 doubles. So your goal is to grow their skills and their confidence and their connections so they can take on more. But most companies miss that. And then they're constantly having to rehire, or they're bringing people in from the outside. Business is actually quite simple if you stay focused on those core basics. Yeah, and I know Clay quite well. I love those concepts.
And Clayton and I were talking about this in person like a couple months ago. I was in Scottsdale and we were hanging out at his offices. And, we've both had success in moving people into a different part of the org chart. That's a really hard thing. It's a blow to the ego for an executive to say, well, I was the portfolio leader, I was the department head, and now I'm taking on something that feels like a demotion, because really, in a way, it is, right? But to say to someone, look, you were the 3 to 10 guy and you're absolutely amazing at 3 to 10. Like, don't feel bad about yourself. Like, this is your role and you're really great. And now you get an opportunity to like step over, and yeah.
I was the 2 to 100 guy, right? Brian, my best friend, replaced me at the 100 million, 106 million. He had to sit me down and say, look, you're the right guy to get us to the 100 million. You're the wrong guy to get us to the billion. So they went out and found my replacement. 12 months later, they had the former president of Starbucks North America. She walks in and goes, what a cute little company. And meanwhile, I'm pulling my hair out. So yeah, that has to happen. But I went through 6 doubles, right? When you double the company 6 times, of course I'm the wrong guy now. It's not even the same freaking company with 3,000 employees system-wide. I don't understand. 13 P&Ls, 4 countries. It was way bigger than I was able to manage.
Yeah.
It was funny. The current COO, Eric, he and I have been friends for almost 40 years. We started a fraternity together 40 years ago, which is crazy. He's been the COO now to the $850 million mark, or 850 million in revenue system wide. he would have been a horrible COO for the first 6 years because he didn't have the entrepreneurial mindset, the entrepreneurial skill set. He'd never built a franchise company, but he was the right guy to take them from the 100 million to the 800 million, right? So even if it's the same company and the same CEO, and I talk about this in my book, The Second in Command, when you're looking to hire that true second in command, they have to match your skills, your weaknesses, your company culture, the stage of growth that you're in, and the amount of money that you're willing to pay, right? And it's a tough role to actually go out and hire for.
Yeah, it's you talked a lot about like it's like that puzzle piece that snaps into you, right? You've got your own
Right.
little picadillos and idiosyncrasies, and like you're finding that puzzle piece that's gonna snap into you and be that good complement to you. It is hard, and I almost
It's like
feel like
finding
it
a
was.
spouse, right?
Yeah, exactly. It is very much like that. It's like it's your work wife, right?
And on that note, I mean, I think Warren, my 15-year-old, had his first girlfriend, and he said, "Hey, Dad, how compatible are you with Mom?" Well,
Mm.
that's a loaded question. I said, "I don't know how, Warren, how compatible do you think we are?" And he goes, "Because a 92." And it's like, that's not that high. But as I thought about it, I said, that was probably the case 25 years ago, right? And the challenge is what I'm looking for today, back to that doubling, is very different than what I was looking for 25 years ago. I don't need a great mom anymore. I don't need a great, career spouse. I don't need 4 or 5 things that were really important to me 25 years ago. Now I'm solving for a very different problem at 48 than I was at 26.
I think a lot of very entrepreneurial companies get very sloppy with their hiring. Is it's like, oh, you've been a COO, I'll hire you. Or, oh, you've been a director of marketing, I'll hire you. No, like they have to match your company culture, the vision, the size that you're in, the amount of strategy you want them to bring, P&L responsibility you want them to have, the amount of autonomy you're going to give them in their role. There's a lot of things to think about before you just plug somebody into a role, right? It's that
Mm.
square peg in a round hole often.
Yeah. I wanted to shift gears for a little bit. There was something that I've been thinking about. You obviously wrote this great book on meetings suck, and I'm rereading it right now because there's some things in there about the styles of meeting, the types of meeting that I want us to better incorporate, like calling out this is the purpose of the meeting and this is what good looks like in that meeting. But recently in my world, in the tech world, you had like Toby at Shopify who came out, and I'm sure you saw that, where he just like canceled all recurring meetings inside of
Mhm.
Shopify and just
Yeah.
wiped them out completely.
And
I
make
wonder,
people restart them, rethink them.
yeah, like re-underwrite from first principles with like it's
Yeah,
like zero-based accounting. This is like zero-based, like planning for
correct.
your calendar. I wonder, like, what did you think of when you saw that? Is there anything that you've seen coming out recently that's kind of maybe shifted your perspective a little bit on meetings?
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny, the Harley Finkelstein, who's the COO at Shopify, was my first guest ever on the Second in Command podcast 8 years ago. He was guest number, we've done 500 episodes now, and he was the first guest I ever had. I think that's a great idea. I love the idea of just ripping off the Band-Aid and then redesigning what's needed for your company. I had a client years ago where I had him cancel all of his company credit cards and reset up brand new credit card numbers. So he had to resubscribe and re-sign up for everything. That couldn't just roll over to the new card number because he couldn't even figure out what expenses to cancel. So I'm like, just go back to zero. The reason that meetings suck is that we suck at running meetings, right? So
Mm.
companies all of a sudden that can have all these meetings in place and everybody just, you become like these drones that are just like waking up in the morning doing the same thing that you've always done without thinking. So I love that idea of just rip off the Band-Aid and then make people understand what is a meeting, who are the critical few people that need to be at the meeting, what are the purpose and outcome of these meetings that need to happen, how frequent do they need to happen, what's the agenda of what we're covering, right? In what
Mm.
order are we going to cover it? And then how many minutes do we really need to have that meeting for? Just because we used to run it for an hour doesn't mean you can't be booking it now for 20 minutes going forward.
Yeah.
And just because we used to have 16 people there, this isn't a kumbaya group hug. Maybe it's only 5 that need to be there.
Yeah.
Steve
Yeah.
Jobs was very misunderstood in that way. He'd walk into a meeting and be like, why the fuck are you here? What he really meant was like, why are you here when A, you weren't needed, B, you weren't invited, and C, you probably have other work that's higher impact that you should be doing, right? But he just didn't say it in a nice way.
On Money Mavericks, we don't just talk about making money. We explore the innovative strategies and bold decisions that drive real change. Whether you're an experienced investor, a budding entrepreneur, or just someone looking to make smarter financial choices, we've got something for you.
Every week, we're going to sit down with industry leaders, visionaries, and mavericks who share their journeys, challenges, and breakthroughs. From contrarian views on market trends to the secrets behind building a successful startup, you get an inside look at what it takes to thrive in today's economy.
And we promise to keep it real, engaging, and most importantly, actionable. No jargon, no fluff. Just straightforward conversations that you can apply to your own financial journey.
So get ready to challenge your thinking, expand your knowledge, and take control of your financial future. This is Money Mavericks,
where we turn financial dreams into realities and mavericks into legends.
Yeah, I remember. Well, again, as I was going through my notes, one of the things that you said, like, hit me in the forehead like a 2x4 is like, look at all the attendees that you have in this particular meeting on your calendar. We were looking at one together, and you like add up every attendee's hourly rate, and that's the invoice that you have for that meeting. Would you pay that invoice for that meeting based on those people? If you needed to reduce the cost of that invoice by like 30%, 50%, what would you do? And you can reduce the time of the meeting, get a little bit more structured with your agenda. It's like, every employee is basically paid to attend meetings. So teach them how to do it or stop complaining about them, right?
So there's actually apps out there called meeting cost calculators that you can actually plug in. I've got 4 executives, I've got 3 mid-level people and 7 frontline people, the average cost of each, and it shows you for a 17-minute meeting what the cost was of that. Plus there's the start and stop time that people have to cancel what they're doing, go down to the meeting, get back into the groove. So you can kind of add 5 minutes to the front and back of every meeting for people too. It can get extraordinarily expensive. And if companies don't calculate that and then think, what's the gross margin I need to generate just to pay for that meeting? How much sales do I need to do just to pay for that meeting? We'd stop the insanity of a lot of what we're working on. But people don't think that way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was a big unlock for me.
Pardon me?
It was a big unlock for me when we had that conversation. I appreciate it.
What's a belief about scaling you held 10 years ago and now consider flat out wrong?
Wow. A belief that I had about scale. Probably that you had to be marketing everywhere, that you had to be marketing on social media, that you had to be. Now I think that you can be much more strategic around your acquisition strategy, but being at every trade show, being at every conference, being on every platform. I used to think that you had to be everywhere to scale, and now I think that is completely flat out. I think there is so much churn and so much wasted effort that leaders need to say no a lot more often than they say yes.
It's always a pet peeve of mine of the trade show thing of just to show up at the trade show, you're in it for 10, 20, 30K to get 1, 2 leads. That's insane. Show up, pay the attendee fee and walk around. You'll do better. Or at least the same, and you don't even need to have the stupid booth.
Yeah,
who wants to haul that booth around, right? Nobody.
Well, and then it's also like marketing on Instagram or marketing on TikTok or marketing on like. I think we get so distracted by so many opportunities and so much stuff we should be doing without the rigor of sitting down and saying, why am I doing this? What's the best outcome look like? So I actually have something called the decision filter. I took Dan Sullivan's idea of the impact filter and I added an ROI analysis to it. That for every idea that we have, what does the best possible outcome look like? What's the risk of not doing it? What's the impact of the company if we do it? Is it going to increase profitability? Is it going to increase revenue? Is it going to make our employees happier? Will it make my customers happier? And then how much time and people do I need to put in place to make it come true? And is it worth it, right? If it's worth it, do we start it now? Meaning where in the project calendar does it go and what does it potentially bump? Or are we going to start it next quarter? Or based on what we've covered, is it just a no, right? Do we green light, yellow light, or red light the project? And I think
what if I'm
need to have that rigor.
What if I'm an ADHD founder that just sounds interesting and I want to burn it down and try something different?
Then what you have to do is get the COO to make your dreams come true. Every ADD founder needs the COO to be the leash to your dragon,
100%.
right? Or the brakes to your car, but not the parking brake.
Right.
All right. I love these analogies. I know we got to wrap up here. We got to break and let you go. But one last question I wanted to ask you, Cameron, if I may. You've coached a lot of CEOs. You've worked with a tremendous amount of COOs. You've seen a lot of what works and what doesn't. If you could embed one habit in every founder tomorrow that you think would double their odds of hitting their 3-year vision, what would that one habit be?
Saying thank you to their team, praising their team, showing gratitude to their team, caring about their employees. I think so many founders are so focused on grow, 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 fix this, do this, add more. And we forget that we should be saying thank you twice as often as the projects we push out. We should be praising people twice as often as criticizing for the stuff that's broken. You know, it doesn't say that we can't keep growing, but we have to look in that rearview mirror and be grateful for all those things that they've been doing and we've been going. And I don't see founders spending anywhere near enough time saying thank you to all the people that are grunting it out on a daily, hourly, weekly basis.
And that's really hard. It's really hard to do that because the reality is, like, all business is all problems all the time. The business.
No, it's actually it's really easy to say thank you. It's really easy to say great job. We just don't put it into our calendar.
Yeah. I
find the hard part is
I learned this from Howard Behar, who was at the time who was the CEO of Starbucks. Howard spent 2 hours every single Friday handwriting notes to executives and stores to say thank you. Every Friday, he would sit down at his desk with a stack of thank you notes. And my mentor was being groomed as a CEO at Starbucks. So he walked me through the system. Howard would sit down at his desk with a spreadsheet with 50 different thank you cards that he had to write. And it'd be store number 17, Frappuccino record. He'd be like, hey, store number 17, congrats on the Frappuccino record. Looking forward to seeing you this summer when I'm in town. Howard. Kelly Smith, 7 years. Kelly, congrats on your 7 years at Starbucks. Really happy to hear this. Thanks for your loyalty, Howard. So he didn't know who to thank or who to say praise, but he put a system in place to ensure that he did. It's very, very easy to say thank you. It's very easy to say great job. It's very easy to say well done living that core value, but we don't put a system in place for it. So we get distracted by the stuff that is our natural innate ability, which is spotting the things that are going wrong. And we feel like there's all this stuff to do, but we don't stop and go, fucking good job, man. Thank you for that.
It's interesting, of all of the skills that you could embed in a founder, that you pick that one. You believe that it's
because I've worked with
powerful.
so many founders that I know that it's what moves the needle more than anything else.
All right.
We're hardwired as humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And humans just want to be appreciated and loved and cared for.
We want to feel accepted by our tribe because, from an evolutionary perspective, it was a matter of life and death.
So Daryl, let me ask you this question. How often do you tell your wife, Natasha, that you love her and that you appreciate her? Once a quarter?
No, definitely not.
Maybe
that's something that I'm pretty proud of.
Hang on, but so here's the thing. Now you have fights with her, you argue with her, but because you tell her every day, multiple times a day, you show her multiple times a day, you show all those love and the gratitude for all the stuff, that then when you have the fight, it's built off the foundation of everything else. We need to do more of that in our business, and that's why I know that it works.
Well, that's cool. I was not expecting that answer, but I think it's a really powerful one, and it's a great note to wrap up on. Cameron, we could have riffed for 2 or 3 hours, man, and just gotten tons of nuggets of wisdom. But thank you so much for spending some time with us in the audience to share some of the amazing wisdom that you've gleaned over these years. Appreciate you so much, buddy.
And
great. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, Kirk.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Money Mavericks. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. And be sure to share this episode with someone who needs to hear it.
Stay connected with us on social media and visit our website for exclusive resources, episode transcripts, and more.
Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries, making smart moves, and turning your financial dreams into realities.
You've been listening to Money Mavericks, where Mavericks become legends.